you might recognize this. It's a KTM 1290 Super Adventure S, the 2023 model, with new colouring that somewhat screams KTM. It has a 1301cc V-twin engine putting out a stonking 160 horsepower and 138 Nm of torque. That's not adventuring, that's brutality. To make up for its mild psychopathy, it is adorned with some creature comforts, like electronic suspension that's all adjustable through the dash, some of the world's best cornering ABS and traction control, and an active cruise control that stops you crashing into the car in front of you. The alloy wheels are 19 inches up front and 17 inches at the rear, with 200mm of suspension travel, for a ride that's both steady and relaxed. Except if you open the throttle, then we are back to being a serial killer. Mostly, the Super Adventure S is designed for blasting country tar roads, causing havoc everywhere it goes. Except that if you do happen to find some gravel, you could do this. Or this. Maybe even this. It's fun everywhere for a price starting at $338,999. Now, if we were anywhere else in the world, this is where the Super Adventure test would end. Except that we live in South Africa, and South Africans are a bit odd. Almost as though it was created for South Africans, KTM also built this. It's the big daddy of adventuring, the KTM Super Adventure R. It starts at a price of $347,999 and has the same motor as the S, with the same steel trellis frame. But no doubt you've noticed some differences. There's a 21-inch spoke wheel up front, an 18-inch spoke wheel around the back. The suspension has been raised, there's protective scaffolding around the motor, and a bash plate that looks like it was wrestled away from a tank. The bike is big and powerful, and that shouldn't make sense. And in most countries it doesn't, which is why the S version outsells it. But not in South Africa. In South Africa, people want the good stuff. People want the R, which is why South Africa is the only country where the R outsells the S. Obviously, we need to find out why. Which is why we've come here to the Limpopo province, one of my favorite places. It is full of nothing but open bush. There are far more animals out here than there are people. I like it, quite frankly. We also have bits like this road over here. It's a farm track, middle of nowhere. There's fences keeping all the animals and there aren't any humans, but if there were, it would keep them in. And there's no traffic, there's no one here, there is nothing. It's our road for the day. Clearly this bike is special, and it makes the rider feel special too.
I am the rally master! Unless I have to stop, in which case, this thing's too tall and I'll just fall over. But the trick is, don't stop. I've got 40 k's left on this tank, so, we'll have to just fall over then.
That extra height comes from the 20mm more suspension travel from the WP Explore suspension, the same sort of stuff KTM uses for its enduro races. That adds to all the other over-the-top off-road goods.
Here's the thing about the R version, it's confidence. Confidence that I can hit bigger stuff, like this corner. Feel that. Man, that's a lot of spin. It just spins and spins and spins. Pundits will probably tell me that it's not conducive towards acceleration, but it is very conducive towards a lot of fun. But I feel more confident. I've got a big bash plate. So that means I can hit stuff harder. Front wheel, big front wheel, 21-inch, can hit stuff harder. Higher, more suspension means I can hit stuff harder. Just hit stuff harder and go. And here we go. Here's some hard stuff to hit. ABS. Oh, I love ABS. People tell me, why ABS? No, I love ABS. It'll save your life. There we go. Hard stuff. Hit it. It's got the suspension. I'm yet to bottom it out. Even me, I'm yet to bottom this thing out.
Of course, it's not all about going fast and hitting stuff hard. Sometimes that's not an option.
Alright, here comes a river. Eyes are open for this one. Let's see where I'm going. If I hit a big rock and I stop, that might be it. Me capsize into the river. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Yes! Up the hill. Yes! I'm through. There's no greater feeling. There's like that thing in your stomach when you get to something like that. Like a river crossing like that. You know, no matter how professional you are, there's a little thing in your stomach as you get to it. Like, was this it? Is this going to go badly? And then when you get through it, there's such a feeling of jubilation. It's so... Oh, it's lovely.
And of course, even the most brutal off-roader needs a modicum of civility.
Apart from being tall, this is a comfortable motorcycle. Your legs are a little bit cramped compared to some of the other adventure bikes, but it's not bad. There we go, through puddle. It's got this little screen that does a bit. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it does a bit. Oh, it's just wheel spins and wheel spins and wheel spins. And apart from the giggling and the giggle factor and the juvenileness and all of that, it is a fairly sort of sense of executiveness about this thing. You look at these buttons over here, they're all well sort of placed, they just sort of look good, they look kind of classy, they look sort of, well, they look like they might fall off, but apparently they don't. I mean, people have been riding these things for ages and none of them have, but it does kind of look good. And this dash, people keep saying to me who's never seen this thing before, they go, what the hell, you got a whole computer screen? I'm like, yeah, it's my cinema, it's not a dash, it's a cinema.
And while this bike may seem like a fire-breathing monster dead set on causing havoc, there is a nurturing side.
The technology is amazing. You pull brakes hard. I mean, it's a really slippery road. You pull brakes hard and it just stops. The ABS is fantastic. Here we go, up to a puddle. And the first, through we go. It's like a little kid. It's like a little kid. This is immature adventure riding. That's what this thing is. Immature adventure riding.
While so far it's been a fairy tale, reality does creep up on us from time to time.
So here's the thing. This bike is very tall and very heavy. I mean, okay, well, in this class it's really not bad in terms of weight, but yeah, I've ridden recently a lot of smaller bikes. You've got the mid-range adventure bikes. You've got the, like my little hero, all of that kind of stuff. They are very, very small, very, very light. They do give you a lot of sort of confidence. This thing has confidence for a big adventure bike, but it's still a big adventure bike. It does feel a bit heavy. Every now and again you go through mud and the front washes a little bit, and you kind of just get this feeling that eventually it's going to go wrong. Well, not wrong, but you'll eventually end up sort of horizontal. And then you're going to have to use a whole flippin' bar one, a Rolo, and a milkshake's worth of energy to pick it back up again. Which is why I keep having those things, obviously. Downsides, okay, upside it makes a hell of a lot of power. Downside it makes a hell of a lot of power, so it depends how you look at it. If you're someone who likes sort of larking about, wheel spinning the back end and fishtailing and making a lot of noise, you're going to love it, which is basically me. You're going to love it. If you're not that sort of person, then this might be a bit overwhelming. You might spend a lot of money to have a whole lot of power you never quite use. So that's really up to you. KTM's motto is ready to race. So they make stuff that's sort of racing. You know, it's a racy bike. This is a racy bike. It's comfortable. You could do long distance touring. You can go off-road. And if you're a capable rider, you could probably take this thing pretty much anywhere. But it is racy. And if you like racing, you're going to love this. It's brilliant.
Speaking of ready to race,
coming up ahead is quite a fast sweep and then a long, empty straight. Shall we find out what this thing can do on a dirt road? I agree, let's do that. Go close mouth for that. Go. Oh. That's very slippery. This road is slippery. Incidentally, I've got it on slip level 9, which is the most interference. And that's on purpose, because it actually accelerates better. Otherwise it just wheel spins. Okay, here we go, through the corner. Carry speed through here. Oh, it's spinning. Go! Let's go. 183. 196, up to top gear. 200! We're up to 200! Oh, goodness me! It's still wheel spinning! The bike is still wobbling! It's still wheel spinning! 270, 280! What do we get to? What do we think we'll get to? 222? Ah! That's his latest idea! Okay! ABS! 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 That's a lot of ABS! Oh boy! That was so stupid! That was so incredibly stupid! That's one of the stupidest things I've ever done! Should we do it again? I agree. Let's go.
That was, as Don so rightly admits, spectacularly stupid, but at least it was on a private dirt road, so he wasn't actually breaking any laws. However, if he had got it wrong at 220 k's an hour, there would have been serious consequences, and so we cannot really celebrate this level of irresponsibility. An accident at that speed could have damaged a lot of scenery. He might even have injured some of the local wildlife, which would have been frankly unforgivable. As a motorcycle journalist going by the name of Furee, he is already an endangered species, and so although I might possibly have enjoyed the sight of him bouncing through the Limpopo countryside like a fleshy meteorite, I have had to reprimand him and issue him with a written warning. The only way to ensure that he would get the message was to write it on an ice cream wrapper and have it delivered by hand.
Hey look, a Magnum. You're a very naughty boy. Don't do it again.
I would have loved to know how the S version of the 1290 Adventure would have tackled that challenge, but unfortunately, although it had quite off-roady rubber on the front, it was sporting a rear tyre that's more suited to cutting fast laps at Kyalami. So, in an uncharacteristic display of wisdom, he opted not to top speed it. There are, as he pointed out, many upgrades to the R that make it a more capable off-roader than the S, though he failed to mention the single most important difference between the two bikes in this case, which was a set of knobblies on the R. Doesn't really matter what type of bike you're riding, in what type of environment. Performance invariably boils down to having the optimum grip for the intended ride. Oh, in case you're thinking Don is a professional motorcycle journalist with decent off-road abilities, which he is, barely, and assume that he was never in any real danger as he did his best impression of Cocaine Bear on a bike, here is a little excerpt of him displaying his enormous dirt riding talents moments before that high-speed run. More by luck than judgment, Don will return after this short ad break.